Hello? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello, I'm Sandy. Doors to manual and cross-check. Hello, I'm Sandy. Doors to manual and cross-check. Oh, for fuck's sake. I was born in 1945 in Paisley, in Barshaw Maternity. Born in a park. Oh, a nice park at that. Turned it into flats. I could have fancied one of those new flats, but they were awful dear. What did your parents do? Ignored each other and agitated against the capitalist menace, which included me. Worked in coats like everyone else's. How do you identify? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, M to F, F to M, F off, pansexual. Pansexual? What's pansexual when it's at home? Alexa, what is pansexual?
Pansexual is a pansexual person.
Oh, Jesus. Alexa, what is a pansexual person?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Oh. Right, Google it. Pansexual. Oh. Not limited in sexual choice by sex, gender, or gender identity. Known a few of those in my time. How do I identify? Lesbian? Leather? Lemon? Dyke? Oh, you're still allowed to say dyke. I used to love saying dyke. I'm a big dyke. That always got a response. I identify as lesbian. When did you first become aware of LGBTQ plus people? Plus? Alexa? Oh, never mind. Like most Scottish lesbians of my generation, I first became aware of my sexuality at the panto. It's ironic, she was playing Dick Whittington. Boots, jacket, jaunty cap, a knack with a musket, and legs that went right up to, No, I wasn't fooled. I knew it was a girl, but she wasn't exactly trying to pass. So off Dick went to London all on her own, rearing for adventure. She got the girl in the end, but I wasn't interested in the girl. It was Dick that did it for me. Though Dick was no Dick, if you catch my drift. Oh, I've been a thigh girl ever since. It was the 1950s in Paisley. There weren't exactly many lesbians about. Well, none that showed themselves anyway. There were a couple of women up our street who might have been mistaken for sisters, but weren't. Well, they could have been together, but it was all don't ask, don't tell back then. Not that anyone would have asked, would they? Pair of old spinsters? Oh, a pair of youngsters in a bar, they'd get hassle. But women my age? Well, nobody's going to ask us, are they? Sometimes we might want to tell. People talked about poofs. But nobody mentioned dykes. I found a copy of The Well of Loneliness in the Central Library and started reading it in instalments between the shelves. Oh, I wouldn't have dared take it out. I don't know what I thought. That the librarian might report me. Suspected dyke on the loose. Oh, it fell open at the right page. The spine was broken. You know, She kissed her full on the lips as a lover, and that night they were not divided. Well, it was strong stuff back then. I used a wee slip of paper to keep my place, and one day it had moved. Oh, I can't remember if it was backwards or forwards. Oh, it gave me a shiver. Well, there was someone else out there, another invert, as Stephen Gordon would have said. So I took my pencil from the satchel and I wrote, "Hello, who are you?" Stupid, like it was the back of the toilet door or something. Well, I spent a whole week in unholy anticipation. But when I went back, the bookmark was gone and the librarian was giving me funny looks. So that was that. Never got past chapter 8. Stephen was still talking to her horse and gazing in the mirror to see if she was queer looking. No tea, no shade, Stephen. You look like a great big butch. I've always found libraries and bookshops erotic. Oh, shit. Oh, bloody tablets. Oh, is that thing still recording? Well, little did I imagine when I was a wee baby dyke that I'd be trapped in a top floor tenement, barely able to hurtle to the toilet together. Oh. Oh. It was years before I finished The Well. Read it when we were grounded for weather in Atlanta in the mid-80s. Don't know what all the fuss was about. Still mind that bookmark, though. Maybe it was the librarian. Well, she didn't look the type. But who knows with librarians? Oh, right. Are you out? A, completely. B, selectively. C, not at all. Well, like it's a one-off thing. Well, it might be if you're Jodie Foster or Ricky Martin or if you hire that guy in the high street with the sandwich board. Wonder if he's still there. Golf sale, iPhones unlocked, all-you-can-eat buffet. It used to be, your sin will find you out. Oh, I was out in the bars and securely stowed when I was in the air. Wrapped up like a tartan enchilada in that bloody uniform. And I had to be closeted to get the job. Imagine me at the interview. What attracts you to this job, Miss Scott? Well, I'd like to get the fuck out of Paisley and travel the world picking up women. Sounds like a pulp novel. Good afternoon. I'm Sandy, your lesbian on today's flight. Fly me. So, no, it didn't hold me back. It was 1966 and the Queen had been to open the new airport at Abbott's Inch. Domestic flights only at first, stewardesses required. I'd never seen myself as a girly kind of girl, but oh, I got all dolled up for that interview, I can tell you. I borrowed next door's Carmen rollers and slathered on the Max Factor. Next thing I knew, I was serving Scotch on the rocks on the 0800 to Gatwick. Breathing in cigarette smoke all the way. You know, Virginia Slims used to be pennies in duty free. Right. Who did you come out to first? Mother. Father? Ah, that'll be right. Sibling? Well, I didn't have one of those. After I arrived, my parents got back to working towards the crisis of capitalism. God and Marx bless them. Best friend? Oh. My best friend was Nancy from across the road. We walked to school together, and then we went to the dancing together in the big coal. Oh, I liked the dancing, but no the winching. Oh, I was Nancy's bridesmaid. Her mother made the dresses herself from butterick patterns. Mine was primrose yellow sateen, Empire line. Hellish. That was my first tangle with the Carmen rollers. Well, Nancy knew I wasn't as interested in getting married as she was, but we never spoke about why not. I wasn't bold back then. I never came out to Nancy, but I think she knew. It was the jumbo jet in the room. Do you know what she said to me once? She said, I don't mind the idea of poofters, but I wouldn't like to be around any of those lesbians. No wonder I didn't say it out loud. I'd forgotten what it felt like, to be honest. Or, should I say, to be dishonest. Until recently. Who did I come out to? A stranger? Female passengers travelling on their own was still unusual, but oh, she would have stood out anyway. It wasn't so much what she was wearing or the way she looked, but how she looked, if you know what I mean. Our eyes met as I passed her a G&T, and I could tell she really saw me. Really saw me. It was the last flight of the day, and we had a 12-hour layover. When she disembarked, she slipped me her card. It had a hotel name written on the back. All the other girls in the shift, they were going for a drink with the pilot and the first officer, but no, I said I was tired. Oh, I was nervous. I hit the old crew juice before I was off the plane, and I was glad of the Dutch courage. She was right there in front of me in the taxi queue. Let's just say it was a layover to remember. Well, I kept thinking she'd get on another flight. For years, I'd catch a glimpse or hear a laugh from the other end of the cabin. Oh, she had a great laugh. I never saw her again. Not that it mattered. Not really. I walked out of that hotel a different woman. I thought they'd be able to tell, you know, the rest of the crew. But I felt so different. So like myself. I thought it was like I had a big neon sign above my head. I don't know what the sign would have said yet. Queer, I suppose. But the rest of them were so hungover they didn't notice a thing. You know, that cockpit stank of booze. Gave me the bulk. Oh, I'd changed. And things were changing round about me. There was women's lib, and I was all for that, because even although the aim was to overthrow capitalism, it was the women that were still scrubbing the close stairs. Gay lib too. Oh, I got the buses to the marches, sang the songs, went to the monthly discos. Didn't mind the winching then. But even once I was out, I didn't look the part. I might have been wearing dungarees, but I was still a trolley dolly underneath. Kept singing that bloody song from the advert at me. I wish they all could be Caledonian girls. I was happy to call myself a big dyke. I mean, I was a big dyke, but to a lot of folk, I wasn't visible enough. I was hiding in plain sight, hiding on a plane. Butches were getting their heads kicked in on a regular basis, and there I was, lesing it up on leave, then putting on my lippy and heels to go back to work. Oh, and I understood the resentment, but I resented it right back. I mean, what was I meant to do? Blusher was compulsory, for Christ's sake. And why shouldn't I look the way I did? There's enough shame without adding another layer to it. Oh, God, better get a move on if I'm going to get this finished before Madison gets here. Right, so out to pals, yes. Out to colleagues, sometimes, depended on the crew, depended on the destination, depended on how much a swally we'd had when we knocked off. Word gets round, though, which can make it easier, or mean that there's some arsehole of a purser leaving lemons lying around the gantry to try and make some kind of a point. Oh, can you no take a joke, Hen? Are you married? No, I'm not married. No, I could be now. And I've had my chances, believe you me. Well, there was Rona. She even asked me before it was legal. Oh, and there was Sergeet. We lived together. But what can I say? I liked spreading my wings. Yeah, well, I'm bloody winged now, aren't I? Oops. Rewind. Oh, just ignore that bit. I went arse over tit on the ice and did my shoulder in and my tibia. Married. Yes, civil partnered. Yes, things have changed. But I suppose one of the advantages is that it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, there you are with your lover. But if you're single, an old spinster like me, oh, you think you're out and proud. Your pals know, those who matter know. But nosy Nelly across the landing, with her priestly visits and her drug-dealing son. Oh, hello, Mrs. Scott. Is it your turn to clean the stairs? Our Derek would do it for a tenner. Aye, he'll be lucky. Am I meant to hang a rainbow flag above my lintel? They're nice enough, if you discount the dealing and the expression of butter wouldn't melt. God probably told her not to put dog shit through my letterbox, but you can never be sure with God. But do I really need to come out to across the landing to be true to myself? When I was younger, I had a forward trajectory. Up, up, and away. Would you like to fly in my beautiful balloon away up in the sky? Oh, everything was a fight, but we were pushing forward, making progress. It was hard, but oh, it was exciting. We're here, we're queer, get used to it. I mean, I guess they're used to it. Well, except those who aren't. You can have children now too. Well, always could, of course. And there were plenty who went for a favour from a friend and the turkey baster. No guarantee, though, that you wouldn't be left sitting on your own waiting for someone on the minimum wage to come and microwave you a curry. If I had children. Oh, me with a baby. Oh, it'd be as bad as be nannying the first-class cabin. Another drink, sir? A blanket, sir? Do you need your nappy changed, sir? If I had children, I'd want them to fly the coop like I did. See the world. Sunset on San Francisco, moonshine on the Pacific. Do you know it was all I could do to persuade my parents to use my free flights to go to the Costa Brava? I offered them St. Petersburg for their golden wedding, but they couldn't get the travel insurance by then. Maybe that's my problem. I don't have the travel insurance. Back in the day, as the kids like to say, if someone called me a carpet muncher or said they'd kick my head in, I could fight or flight. Oh, I did all the self-defence classes and I was nifty on my pins. But now, one bit of black ice and whee sirens blaring to the Royal Alexandra. Back in the day, I might have tried it on with one of the nurses. Back in the day, I might have got somewhere. A slow bed bath. Yeah, but all it took was a look from a sour plume and purple scrubs and I was all, yes, nurse, no, nurse, 3 bags full, nurse. Your old age is an underlying health issue. And Harold Shipman isn't the only one who thinks pensioners could do with a helping hand. Goodbye and thank you for all the blood, sweat and tears and slimline mixers. Christ, I just wanted them to love me. Or at least give me a bedpan before I pissed myself and slap a nicotine patch on me twice a day. And if that meant playing a sweet little old lady, well, it's like being back in the long haul. No matter the hour, smile, smile, smile. We twinkle in the eyes. Or as much of a twinkle as I could manage these days. And ne'er a fuck, shit, or buggery bollocks past my lips. It piqued interest that I didn't have any children or grandchildren visiting me. But the nurses were that busy, they didn't pay much mind. So no need to make any declarations. Right. If you had a choice, would you want to be straight? What kind of question is that? If I had the choice, I'd want to look like Patty Boyd and go to bed with Jane Fonda. No, I would not want to be straight. I am what I am my own special creation. Have you ever been abused for being who you are? A, verbally abused, B, physically abused. Well, living here, I had to watch my back more than the London girls. I did think about moving south, but it wouldn't have suited me the way Paisley did. 5 minutes in the car and there I was, biggest airport in Scotland, connecting to wherever I wanted to be, and a few places I didn't. There's not a woman in the world who hasn't been A, verbally abused, B, physically abused. Even if it's just an unwanted hand on the bum. And I probably had more than my fair share of that, but oh, I knew how to fight back. Do you know it got so bad I took to carrying a brick in my handbag? It's amazing the effect a brick in the knackers can have on a man. We called it the equaliser. I don't have the strength to carry a brick around with me anymore. Maybe I should get a gun. Well, there was a shooting in Fergusley the other week, so somebody must be selling them. I haven't felt that vulnerable in years. It was looming on the horizon, though, in the hospital. I overheard the word carers, and I thought, no, thank you. Someone you don't know coming into your house. I imagine myself trying to beat them up with my crutches. I mean, I've got friends. Well, of course I have, but I couldn't ask them. A bottle of gin and a blether, yes, please, but wipe my arse for me? Not in a million years. When it came down to it, they wouldn't let me out until I'd signed on the dotted line for a care package. Well, you just don't know who you'll get, do you? Until they're in your house. A homophobe in your home. You hear horror stories. A sly nip, a punch, a used tampon in your tea. I was getting ready to go back into the closet I'd never really been in before, not totally. I could picture it in my mind's eye. Dark, fusty, and full of wire coat hangers. One more question. How do you meet other LGBTQVWXYZ people? Well, sometimes when you least expect it. In your very own home. Oh, I love Deliveroo. Tap, 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 and there you are. Oh, Marks and Spencer's is all very well, but those plastic food trays reminds me of airline food, which, when I started, was pretty swish. I don't mean folk were ordering lobster thermidor or I was carving racks of lamb in the aisles, but we had hors d'oeuvre and a cheese course for Christ's sake. Cocktails for starters, liqueurs to follow. Passengers didn't know they were born. Lucky if they got a cup of coffee and a caramel wafer by the time I stopped flying. Oh. Hello, pet. I've ordered it already. No, I'm not senile. You don't need to remind me you're a vegan. Oh, and I've done your questionnaire thingy. Had quite the trip down memory lane to myself. Yes. Oh, would you mind picking up a couple of those nasty cocktails in the tins? At the pink passion star ones. Oh, they're not offensive. Just a wee bit on the sweet side, maybe. See you in a wee bit then. Oh, and Madison, thanks for coming to me last. Our wee evening's been such a lot to me. Oh, I'm just sorry you have to put me to bed afterwards. You're right. I will be back on my feet in no time at all. Flying high.
I've flown with US Airlines And the girls are really nice. And those beautiful Far Eastern girls do splendid things with rice. Ooh.
German girls are so correct, and the planes are never late. But there's only one girl we want to see as we reach the departure gate.
I wish they all could be Caledonian. I wish they all could be Caledonian. I wish they all could be Caledonian girls.
British Caledonian. We never forget you have a choice.